Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call this meeting of the Halton Police Board to order, and today is Thursday, February 26, 2026. Before we get into the meeting, I just want to apologize and let you know in advance, I got recovered from laryngitis yesterday. I couldn't speak. Chief heard me squeaking yesterday, so today I have a sort of half a voice. If I have to bail out, the Vice Chair will take over to be my voice for the balance of the meeting. I'm going to do my best, and I promise I won't be doing any yelling. Okay, before we actually get into our meeting, I'm going to read our Indigenous territorial acknowledgement that the Halton Police Board acknowledges the lands on which we gather for this meeting as the treaty territory of the Mississaugas Credit First Nation, the traditional of Haudenosaunee, Wendat, and the Anishinaabe. No matter our origins, our lives are intertwined through the shared earth beneath us, the water we consume, and the air that we breathe. As those responsible for the governance of the security of all who gather on this land we now call Halton, we are committed to the path of truth and reconciliation in our words and in our actions, and call on those watching this meeting to do the same. Madam Board Secretary, do we have any regrets today?
No, we have no regrets.
Members of the board, do you have any declarations of conflict of interest to declare today?
Mr. Chair, I don't have any conflict of interest, but I just, for the public's information, want to share that there is a board item about the community fund, and I do sit on Humvee's executive board, but I have no pecuniary interest because I'm not a paid member. I'm a volunteer.
Thank you. That's so noted. So you'll participate in the vote still? Yes. Okay. I will also declare the same. There's an application to the community fund from the Oakville Public Library Board. I am the chairman of the Oakville Public Library Board, and however, I'm not in a pecuniary conflict position. I'm not compensated as a result of my chairmanship. It's a volunteer position. But for the sake of due diligence, I'm declaring that today, but I will be participating in the vote. Yes, thank you. I have two introductions to make this morning. First of all, those of you who were watching or here last board meeting, we had to say a sad goodbye to our former colleague, Jane McKenna, whose term expired a few days ago, actually. But today we get a happy moment to introduce our new board colleague, Rodney Dobson, to our board. Welcome aboard. Really fun working with you. Rod's all trained and ready to go. Passed your course is done, so you can formally participate. I also want to take a moment to introduce Stu McDonald. Stu McDonald was recently elected as chair of the Halton Regional Police Association, so welcome, Stu, and we appreciate your service. He's with us, but there was another change with the Senior Officers Association as well. Phil Newcomb was elected as president. Sorry, Chris Newcomb. I was thinking of Phil from HRPA. Chris Newcomb was elected as president of the SOA. I don't think he's with us this morning, but we want to congratulate him as well in his new position, and we look forward to working with both Stu and Chris going forward to the benefit of their members and to the general public. Members of the board, you've had circulated to you the minutes of our last board meeting, which was held on, here's timed out, on January 29th. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes as circulated, please. Thank you, Nadine. Thank you, Nav. All in favor? Those minutes are approved. We have a delegation this morning and a presentation which is not listed, but I'll introduce that shortly. So is Charles Zach with us today? Okay. Can you come forward to the podium, please? Mr. Zach is delegating on our item that we're doing later on the agenda, which is 4.4, the Federal Assault Style Firearms Compensation Program. Mr. Zach, you have 5 minutes to delegate. We look forward to your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, esteemed members of the Halton Police Board. My name is Charles Zach. I've lived in Halton and lived here all my life. I've come before you this morning as a lawful and frustrated gun owner who was caught up in the crosshairs of the federal firearms buyback mess. First off, let's be clear, it's not about public safety anymore, never was. It's about politics, wasting everybody's time and money. Now, to press the point, in September 2025, there was a leaked audio from the Public Safety Minister, Gary Gashari, expressing significant doubt about the federal government's mandatory gun buyback program. In that recording, the minister admitted the gun buyback policy will not make Canada safer and was politically driven by the need for votes in Quebec and doubted that police forces had the resources to enforce it. Lawful firearms owners in Halton and pretty much across Ontario are overwhelmingly negative about the federal government's so-called assault-style firearms buyback program for the same reasons the minister accidentally revealed in his infamous hot mic confession. They see it as a waste of taxpayer money, an attack on their private property rights, government overreach, unjust targeting, and criminalization of innocent law-abiding folks like me who aren't the problem, and basically a veiled civil disarmament scheme disguised as voluntary. Many frustrated firearms owners have already declared they will not participate in this buyback process and will keep their guns in protest even after the amnesty and face the legal consequences come what may. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has also been pretty vocal about this. Last January said he slammed it as focusing on the wrong people, law-abiding gun owners instead of real criminals. Ontario Solicitor General Michael Kersner told me personally the same thing. His office has publicly stated Ontario Police Services do not have the resources to attend residential addresses to confiscate previously lawful and now prohibited firearms from lawful gun owners. He is aligned with the Premier. Other Ontario boards like Toronto, Durham, Peel have already said no, thereby saving valuable resources in their jurisdiction for real crime fighting and not wasting it on political virtual signaling that has no measurable impact on public safety or regional crime rates. Most of the Ontario police forces opting out of the scheme cite the following downsides they face by participating. Resource strain. It would divert frontline officers and budget away from high-priority police work, like chasing illegal guns used by real criminals, disrupting organized crime gangs, responding to violent crime, and stopping the criminal smuggling of illegal firearms. Chiefs repeatedly say that they'd rather focus on real threats than handling legal gun owner turn-ins. Logistical headaches. Ottawa has offered no workable plan on how to safely collect, store, or even process these confiscated or surrendered guns. Toronto Police have called it not operational viable, and others mention gaps in administrative details, safety protocols, and expectations. Political community backlash, big one. Helping will alienate a lot of innocent local licensed gun owners like myself, who see the ban as politically targeting law-abiding folks. It will hurt public trust in police services, especially in rural and pro-gun precincts where police prioritize community support. I have also received worrying testimony from many frontline police officers who are worried about being forced to participate in this dangerous program. They fear they may be accidentally injured by confiscated firearms that are surrendered in an unsafe manner, loaded, for instance. They also fear they may encounter violent resistance from mentally unstable armed individuals or zealous conscientious objectors who refuse to comply and physically will resist a forced seizure of their banned guns. They also fear tarnishing their current good guy reputation in their community and being rebranded as villainous political henchmen. Many senior RCMP officers now are quitting the force because they feel that they have lost the public trust and respect of the communities that they serve. Like Halton, their recruitment is also being affected by enforcement of bad laws and things that have happened lately. Halton's got enough on its plate and staffing shortages and rising calls. Imagine frontline officers being diverted to do paperwork on recently collected prohibited firearms instead of patrolling the streets and responding to emergencies. Even though the federal government offered to pay your expenses, still it's our tax money, and in my view, it'd be a waste of effort. Enforcement's a joke anyway. The feds can't even track what's out there. Better to give up this ideologically motivated policy failure and refocus public safety measures on public education, mental health, real armed criminals, and border security, where policing actually has a measurable impact on public safety. Bottom line, joining in on this government ploy would mean diverting limited public resources from fighting real crime in Halton to administering a controversial and misguided federal program that will not reduce armed crime, illegal firearms, smuggling, suicide, domestic violence, or mass shootings. Claims that it will are unsubstantiated. In my view, the federal buyback program is a deceptive, performative, resource-draining public safety policy flop. It only persists because it is a very effective political wedge issue, a fear-mongering tactic used by disingenuous and unscrupulous political parties to manipulate public opinion for political gain, to divert public attention away from embarrassing government scandals, and to shamelessly garner votes from the uninformed electorate during election campaigns.
Mr. Zach, I just have to advise you've gone beyond the 5 minutes. I'll give you a little bit more grace.
Thank you. I got 1 minute.
Perfect.
Halton deserves better than being Ottawa's partisan cleanup crew and possible policy failure patsy. If it does decide to participate, it risks being scapegoated by the feds if the gun confiscation program goes wrong, and it will. There's nothing to gain here, everything to lose. So I encourage the board to vote wisely and vote no. You will be on the right side of history and truth. So on behalf of local and battled firearms owners, I thank you for your service, time, and attention, and may God bless you all to make a righteous decision.
Thank you for your delegation, and I apologize. I referred to you as Charles Zach. I heard you pronounce it Zach.
It's Zach, yes.
Okay, I apologize for that.
Common mistake, no problem.
Okay, I have any
questions?
Yes. Any questions, members of the board? Oh, Samira Ali.
No question, just wanted to thank you for coming out.
Oh, thank you.
And expressing yourself and speaking on behalf of a lot of people who feel like.
Thank you. I just want to say that I've been doing this for a long time. And things are turning around now because the truth has been revealed. Yes. It's all based on a lie. And, like all bad laws, this one also needs to be revealed. Thank you again.
Rita.
Thank you very much for being with us, Charles. I just want to understand your position more clearly. So the recommendation that we have before us today is for the Halton Police Board to approve the Halton Regional Police Service to opt out of the compensation program. Is that the position that you are in support of, or you're asking for a different direction?
That is exactly what I want you to do, right?
Thank you for your input.
All right, thank you.
Last call for questions. No, thank you very much for your presentation today. Thanks for the information. We appreciate your time. Okay, members of the board, as I mentioned, we have a walk-on presentation today, and I'd like to call up George Barrett and Colleen Mulholland from the Halton Police Foundation. Or at least George. Maybe not Colleen. Oh, you're coming. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the esteemed members of the board, Police Chief Tanner, the public. Thank you for attending, and thank you for having us on such short notice. As Mr. Knoll says, my name is George Limberis. This is Colleen Mulholland. I am the chair of the Halton Police Foundation. For those who don't know, the Halton Police Foundation is the first of its kind, started by Chief Tanner in or around the middle of 2024. I used to do charitable work and other endeavors with the chief, and he asked me if I could join, and somehow I ended up becoming the chair, which I'm very happy to have done. It's a great, great foundation, and as I said, it's the first of its kind in Ontario. And we hit the ground running. For those who don't know much about the foundation, our vision and our scope is to help at-risk youth and other vulnerable members of the community, but with a focus with at-risk youth. Since we've launched in September 2024, we've raised $800,000 in long-term funds. We've raised about $500,000 from our gala. We've secured $800,000 long-term fund called Halton Heroes, and for those who don't know, Halton Heroes is a fund to help families of police officers that have lost their lives in the line of duty. That has now come under our umbrella. We've raised about $51,000 in grants, and we've given it out to registered charities. And one of my favorite programs, and I think you've all seen it, is Adopt a Canine, where you get to adopt one of the police force canines and you get a little plushie and an adoption certificate.
Symbolically, of course, not
They don't
a real
come,
canine.
They don't come live in your house. So why am I here? Well, we've seen an initiative, we want to start an initiative that can really help at-risk youth and transform, I think, a lot of the ills that are in our community. Halton region is often viewed as an affluent and stable community, and it is. But beneath this perception, a significant number of young people are struggling with mental health challenges, housing instability, family breakdown, and school disengagement. Anybody who's seen a lot of young people know that their generation is a little bit more different than the generation we grew up with, and it's not getting better. According to the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, more than 50% of Ontario students report moderate to serious psychological distress. Approximately 1 in 5 youth report self-harm behavior, and nearly 1 in 6 students seriously consider suicide annually. It's an epidemic, and we need to do something to assist these at-risk youth. Nationally, the Mental Health Commission of Canada reports that 1 in 5 Canadians youth experience mental health disorder, with most lifelong mental health illness beginning before the age of 25. In Halton region, home to over $665,000 of residents, approximately 140,000 are under the age of 25. Even conservative estimates suggest thousands of local youth are currently navigating anxiety, depression, trauma, and instability. In 2024 homelessness point in time count, there was about 343 individuals were identified as experienced homelessness across Halton region. That's a 10% increase since 2021. And then if anybody sees the news, this is an ongoing and increasing issue with housing affordability and other mental health issues. We're finding more and more families are being homeless. Historical data also shows that roughly about 32% of people experiencing homelessness in Halton identified under the age of 25, indicating a disproportionate large youth component. So 25% of those 343 people are under 25 and homeless. When mental health and instability go undressed, at-risk youth may become involved in minor criminal activity, experience social disengagement, and may struggle with substance use. Many experts emphasize prevention, restorative justice, and early intervention rather than punitive approaches is the way to go. And this is where we've come in. Existing responses, including emergency shelters, outreach, and programs like host homes and transitional support, 2 of them being in Halton, Bridging the Gap, and Oasis, provide important stopgaps but are not designed for long-term stabilization. They have limited capacity relative to the need and lack integrated mental health and wellness support. Without supplemental infrastructure, at-risk youth remain in a precarious condition, preventing success in education, employment, relationships, and future stability. There's a cost to inaction. Without community-wide action, the cost of inaction is well documented. We'll have increased long-term homelessness and housing instability, escalating demand on emergency healthcare systems, education disruption, lower completion rates and workforce gaps, increased justice system involvement, higher rates of social assistance and dependency, mental health crisis amplification, increased social isolation and community disengagement, and reduced economic growth and lost productivity. Those are the costs of this inaction if we don't try to help these people. What are the solutions? One of the visions myself, the chief, and many of the people on the board have is to create a transitional housing and wellness center for these at-risk youth. Several communities across Canada have established at-risk youth transitional housing and wellness supports with demonstrated positive effects. These programs vary in size and model, but may integrate safe housing with wraparound services, which include early mental health access, education, re-engagement and school-based support programs, mentorship and employment pathways, life skills and financial literacy training, family mediation and support services, recreation and structural community programs. What does that all mean? We want to create a wellness center here in Halton where at-risk youth can come when they don't have anywhere else to go. They have a place where it's just for at-risk youth. They're not mixed with adults. They're given mental health support for whatever their ills might be. And more importantly, we give them a path forward with programs, with universities or colleges or the unions. We give them a path forward so their next stop isn't crime or some type of disengagement. They become productive members of our society. We're looking for real solutions here, not just throwing money at a problem, but bricks and mortar. So investing in transitional housing and wellness enables prevention, and prevention is far less costly than the crisis response that we're dealing with right now. So this is an opportunity for leadership right here. Halton Region has the capacity, the partners, the community leadership to address youth instability before it becomes entrenched in our community. No single organization, sector, or voice has all the answers. The initiative will invite diverse stakeholders, groups to share ideas and lived experience through initially a focused and strategic roundtable discussion. Inviting diverse stakeholders to join us on this journey will not only foster a shared responsibility rather than an isolated action, but are also essential for building effective, sustainable solutions. What we would like to do is invite leaders from the municipality, corporate partners, healthcare and educational institutions, community agencies, philanthropical foundations as examples of leaders we want to bring to this roundtable. By prioritizing the well-being of our at-risk youth through mental health support, education and employment pathways, housing stability, mentorship and opportunity, Halton is strengthening the social cohesiveness, long-term resilience, and economic foundations. We're asking that the Halton Police Foundation work together with this board to create this roundtable. And with this roundtable, we'll then start the next steps to be able to create, build, and support this wellness center for at-risk youth. This is a real opportunity to make some real differences here and actually create a model for the rest of the province. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Members of the board, any questions? I'm not seeing any. I'll just provide a comment. So to my board colleagues and to those listening, I've been involved in this initiative with Colleen and George and with the chief as well, leading up to this point. This has been, in my mind, a need for several decades. When I first joined regional council back in 2000, it was one of the first things that I was faced with the lack of supports for youth health. We all know the impact of mental health callouts on the police service and our budget, but more important than the money is the people and the potential loss in our society of one of our greatest resources, if not our greatest resource, our youth. There seems to be a lack of significant supports out there from senior levels of government for this type of initiative. And it really has been left to local communities to take initiatives like this. I think of organizations like Pure Youth Village that have happened, that was established in Peel by the municipality, and other types of facilities that are operated by philanthropic and charitable organizations across the country. So I, for one, am very excited about this initiative and glad to be asked to participate in the steering committee and the roundtable as well. And you'll see that the motion before us today, and I'll call this up now since it's relatively straightforward. So this is item 4.8 on our agenda. The motion basically is that the Halton Police Board approves in principle board support for the initiative to establish an at-risk youth transitional housing and wellness center in Halton Region. 2, that the Halton Police Board authorizes the Halton Regional Food Service and the board to participate in the next steps of the initiative, including participation in a strategic planning roundtable currently anticipated to be hosted in mid-May 2026. 3, that the Halton Police Board authorizes the chair to participate in and represent the board at the initiative's next steps, including the roundtable on behalf of the board. And 4, that the Halton Police Board approves a contribution amount of $5,000 from the community fund to the Halton Police Foundation to share the costs of convening and delivering the roundtable session. So that's the ask today. I'm wondering, Chief, do you have any comments on it? Because you're one of the co-conspirators here.
Yeah, no, I think it's and the foundation and the board, under both George and Colleen's leadership, have taken off in many great directions. And this is really an opportunity to look at the future. It would be a major, a massive undertaking, and from a funding perspective, it will take time, but we have some very wealthy and capable and more than willing supporters of the foundation already, and there'll be many more. I think if you get into the bricks and mortar type of a situation, it comes with a lot of different issues, and there are not a lot of, as George said, there's not a lot of opportunities or places for us to take youth at risk when we encounter them on the streets or when they are homeless. And yes, they can go to the shelter on Kerr Street, but they're mixed with adults, which is not good. There's not the support and the counseling and mentorship available. So it really is an opportunity to look at sort of a groundbreaking opportunity here in Halton. And I think sometimes we're misled by the affluence of Halton region because we have just as many issues on the mental health side as any other jurisdiction, I would think. And that includes the wealthiest parts of the town of Oakville, every other city. They're not, there's no part of Halton region where mental health and addictions and homelessness can't strike. And sometimes these are young kids from the wealthiest of families, not let alone normal, average Halton residents. So I think it's a great initiative. I think the round table is a good opportunity to bring people from a variety of specializations and knowledge together all at the same time to talk about, what are the do's in this sort of situation and what are the don'ts and pitfalls that others have come across before. But you always have to take a first step to get somewhere. So we got to this point, launching the foundation with the board's support, and it's gone so well so far. I think this is a great step forward.
Just in conclusion, what we're trying to do is a holistic approach. I think we've got great services in Halton, but they're not under one umbrella. And at-risk youth needs to be served under one umbrella, so they have some consistency and some predictability. This allows them to be, hopefully, grand version is to have this facility where we can have this all-in-one service, wraparound service for this youth. It's a unique opportunity, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
George, I'll amplify what you said, but I will push back just a little bit. We have great services, and we do not have any sort of meaningful accommodations for youth who are either homeless or finding themselves in a transitional situation. It's very limited capacity in that regard.
I misspoke. It wasn't exactly what
I'm not accusing you of speaking. I just want to reemphasize that point because that's a really fine point on this. We do have wonderful services. We have great agencies like ROC and so many other different groups across the region that are there for our kids 24/7, but what we do not have is an opportunity for them to be safely housed when they are in circumstances of whether it's homelessness or family dissolution or one of the other reasons why kids find themselves on the street. And so this is in my mind, one of the primary goals that I hope we can come out with this. So when kids have problems, they need places to be for short-term or medium-term periods. Sending them off to Toronto or Hamilton or other places takes them away from their families, takes them away from their schools, their friends, and things that are important to them, and adds to the challenge of recovery and bringing them back into a productive society. So I'm really bullish on this opportunity. I just want to, if Samira wants to speak, I just want to say a couple things just to be very clear. I want to tell you what this is not. This is not a drain on police resources. So we're not, at no point are we expecting to come back to the board to look for core funding from the police from taxpayers' dollars. We're looking at philanthropic money for the development of this process and steerage from the board, steerage from the foundation and from other community organizations. So we are already hard pressed to deliver the policing services in Halton region now based on the challenges of funding and the cost of policing these days. So this is not meant to draw on those resources. The funding that we're asking for today, the $5,000, is from the community fund, which is money that is not otherwise, it's not taxpayer supported, and it is not money available for operations. It is available for granting for purposes like this. So just for clarity for everybody who might be listening on our streaming service and the board members, this is already being looked at not only in a very, in a social service and a necessary service lens, but it's also being looked at with great degree of fiscal responsibility as well, understanding the multiple challenges that we have in that regard. So I'll go to speakers. Samira, you're on up next.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Want to thank you and everybody involved in initiating this. This absolutely will fill a much-needed gap in Halton communities when it comes to youth who are facing a lot of challenges that honestly people of our generation cannot even begin to understand. It's a very different world than when we were growing up. My question is just a little bit operational, if I may, and it might be too early, but just leaving this with you, what would be the vetting process of those being involved directly with children that, you know, all of us being parents, grandparents, uncles and aunts here would have? What would the vetting process look like? And secondly, when we are consulting with, let's say, community organizations, Rock was mentioned before, let's make sure we are getting those kids on that discussion table too, not just the executives and the association owners, organizational bodies, but the immediate affectees or the beneficiaries of these services, because that will definitely truly make it exactly what a custom created solution.
It would be very responsive. Those are very good points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think lived experience will be critical. You know, hearing the voice of lived experience. I think your first question is down the road further, you know, as we flesh this out further. But this roundtable will be an excellent start at bringing those leaders and lived experience around the table to help us define what those next steps look like.
And keep in mind, there are other institutions across Canada that do some similar things that we're planning to do. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We may be trying to modify and perfect the wheel. So we'll be leaning on past experience and past lessons from other organizations, for example, on how to vet, how to do that. I know when I was at the Ronald McDonald House, that was a very important thing with respect to volunteers, because there are children at the Ronald McDonald House. So your question is a fantastic one, and it is going to be topmost of our mind on how we're going to be dealing with that.
Thank you. Good point, Samira. Further questions or comments? Nadeem?
Yeah, again, thank you for bringing this up. This is very important. Just a question regarding the roundtable discussions. Have you had any plan to have a discussion with the medical experts and people, you know, working already with the organizations? Are we going to get involved?
So part of our mandate is to have as many relevant stakeholders as possible on this roundtable that can give input in areas we don't know. I mean, the old adage is, I don't know what I don't know, right? And I think that is true here. We all have lofty goals and we all want to do the right thing, but we don't know what we don't know. And bringing in different stakeholders from all walks of life will allow us to have a different perception of what is going on there, whether it's on the mental health side, the education side, the police side. I mean, all these different factors will hopefully educate our decision on how to establish a proper organization to help at-risk youth with the most efficient and productive way possible.
Just speaking to that, speaking to the comment that Samira made earlier, the question Samira made, I mean, we know a couple cops. We can probably ask them to do some vetting, but I mean, certainly anybody that would be participating would be thoroughly vetted. One of the things I do want to emphasize as well is that part of this roundtable process is actually the validation of the need too. So it's not just a matter of moving ahead, you know, holus bolus without actually validating the theory here that this is a need. I mean, intuitively, you know, I believe it to be true, and a lot of service providers across the region, they do as well. But I think a big part of this process, the first step of the process, is validating and potentially tweaking the concept. So that's a big part of this. I think that the foundation is really approaching this, and we've talked about the steering committee really responsibly in the pace in which we're taking this. We're not just like barreling into it. We really want to make sure that we understand what we're getting into and how big a project this is. I also want to mention that former board member Barb Ferroni is also part of the steering committee. So she's on the board of the foundation now, but also a former member of our illustrious group. So just want to mention that as well. I'll look for questions one last time, and we don't have any. I'd actually like to pass the chair for a moment to Ingrid, because I'd like to make the motion.
Oh, great.
Okay, so I'd like to move the staff recommendation, or my recommendation, it's contained in the agenda, which is item 4.8, and as the motion that I read into the record.
Okay. All those in favor?
I need a seconder.
And a seconder?
No.
Samira? All those in favor? Carried.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for
very
your
much.
consideration and thank you for assistance.
thank you. I just wanted to make the motion ceremonially because Mr. So, invested in the project. Okay, let's move on with our agenda today. To Mr. Zatch, I should mention, we'll be dealing with this item shortly. So if you're still here, okay. So we'll be doing that in the order of the agenda. First of all, I want to draw your attention to item 3. We have 9 matters on the information report. I'll read those out for the sake of the audience online and in person. 3.1 is the quarterly financial report. 3.2 is purchasing activity report. 3.3 is community fund at December 31st, 2025. 3.4 is the semi-annual board governance expenditure report. 3.5 is status of reserve accounts at December 31st. 3.6 is hate-related occurrence summary. 3.7 is donations to service at December 31st. 3.8 is collection of identifying information in certain circumstances. And 3.9 is organizational wellness unit year-end. Now, just FYI, these are considered information reports. They don't have specific actions attached to them. So board members have all had the opportunity to review and read these reports. And at this point in time, we simply ask if somebody wants to separate and ask questions. So I'll ask members of the board, do you wish to separate any of these items and to have specific questions answered?
We need to move, separate 3.3.
3.3. Anything else? Okay, can I get a motion to approve 3.1, 3.2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, please? Thank you.
Can we comment on them without pulling them?
No, just since you pull it. Which one do you want?
I do want to pull the hate-related occurrence.
So that's 3.6.
3.6, I feel like the community deserves a conversation on that.
Sure, absolutely. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion on 3.1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
Take a motion for that, please. Thank you, Nav. Thank you, Ingrid. All in favor? Those items are carried. So I'm going to take you back to 3.3, Board Community Fund at December 31st, 2025. Now, this, just to be clear, this isn't the actual community fund disbursements. That's in the discussion report 4.7. This is just the financial summary.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I think there was misunderstanding.
Yeah, sorry, it appears twice on the agenda, but this one's just about the summary of the finance.
Right. So we can defer that.
We'll have to defer it because it's already on the agenda later on.
Yeah.
Okay. So just for the sake, this is just accounting for the funds that we have on deposit.
So that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So we need a motion to approve.
I'll just do 2.6, then I'll do both at the same time. Lisa, you want to comment?
Yep. Now I can do it?
You can.
Thanks very much. So I think it goes without saying that hate-related crimes in our community are not acceptable and are condemned in the highest way. And I just wanted to hear from staff, are our tactics working? What can we do to continue to create and foster a community of inclusivity so that we can never see these numbers ever again? The one that is most alarming to me is that when we do look at these hate-related incidents, certainly there's an online component, but there are also instances of violence in person. And I think that that is something we should wholeheartedly condemn, and I just wanted to hear from the service your thoughts on that.
Certainly, through the chair. I mean, overall, and not to diminish anything, I think the numbers of 115 and sort of being consistent over the last 2 years, if you think about our 650,000 people and the number of incidents that our officers respond to, I'm happy that it is at least at that level and not in the 200 or 300 or 400s. Having said that, we also had a look, and Deputy Hill looked for me on my behalf into what we would say perhaps the more serious of those, the violent offenses, and we're happy to report by and large all of those were solved with charges laid or cleared. Some of the other ones are a little more complex or harder because they are online or anonymous, the other levels of hate crime. So there is the differentiation between hate crimes and hate incidents, and that always becomes hard for some members of the public to understand what's the difference. But the report also lays that out and defines those things. So I think we're, as far as what we're doing, having an impact, the numbers, our population's going up, our diversity is going up, our numbers haven't gone up. So I think that is a positive in one light. And certainly, but by no means is the work done. And there is no, as we've done campaigns in the past, through the board and through the Chief's Diversity Forum and things, there is no room for hate in Halton. And I think some of those programs are helpful, but we will always have hateful people. And I don't think we can ever expect it to disappear, not in society these days. But I'm very happy with the work that's been done in relation to these incidents.
Thank you. Might this be also a good opportunity to just quickly provide a list of some of those anti-hate tables? I know there's the Halton Diversity and Community Roundtable, some of those initiatives, if you wanted to share them in this forum.
I mean, our diversity forum is certainly, it's been long-lived now and brings people together from diverse, not just cultural, but religious backgrounds to share concerns, also to share positive community events that are going on within the different segments of our populations. There's a lot of work done through our community mobilization, and maybe Kevin, if you want to comment a little bit on that.
Absolutely. Through the chair, back to your original question, obviously we have a dedicated diversity team, EDI team, who coordinates a lot of the work that's gone into this report, including the coordination of the actual hate crime classifications. This report is the culmination of the year's work. I also think it's important to recognize the hard work that's done at a district level. The investigations that you referenced are done at a district level. The coordination is done here at headquarters by our EDI coordinator, but the work that's being done in the communities and districts is year-round, around the clock. There were 9 incidents in 2025 that were most concerning that you've mentioned. Those were actual assaults that had a hate element to them. And to confirm what the chief alluded to, thanks to the excellent work in our district investigations, criminal investigations bureaus, all 9 of those resulted in charges being waived. Persons identified, held accountable, and I think ultimately, to answer your question, it is our most significant role as a police service is to hold those that commit these very heinous crimes accountable. That's our primary. But in addition to that, there's a lot of work that we do, our EDI team does around the clock, around the year, to help shape our programs through influence from our community members. The Chiefs Diversity Forum, which we do twice a year, is probably the best example of that. In this very room, we bring leaders from all communities, all aspects of our community together twice a year, and we listen to their concerns, we listen to their feedback, and over the years, that forum has shaped our policies, they've shaped our responses, and those people are also ambassadors for the service. They go out in the community to their respective communities and clearly emphasize that the Halton Regional Police Service is committed to ensuring no hate in Halton. There is also, the chief alluded to the community services. Our community services team, they do a great amount of work outreach in the community. It's also intended to build inclusivity. I would consider Halton Regional Police to be a leader in that. But we are not the only agency in the Halton region that is working hard to ensure inclusivity. It is a whole community approach. We are one piece of the response to hate crime, but it does require all community partners. But and much like with the youth risk, there's a lot of agencies in Halton. It'd be hard for me to name them all. I would run the risk of missing one. Every community has their own independent ones as well as some regional initiatives as well. But I can say to you without a doubt that hate crime is a priority for Halton Regional Police, both the investigation of, but also the prevention of them occurring in the first place. And to the chief's point, a lot of the hate crime incidents that don't necessarily meet the threshold for a crime, they're handled as well. The officers involved in that do a great deal of work, particularly if there's youth involved, in terms of educating parents, potentially in some cases working with schools to address some of the underlying issues that may have led to the hate incident. It didn't meet the threshold of a crime per se, but was definitely just as troubling in its own right. So this report really is a thorough report, coordinated, but it is an entire police services response to hate crime contained in this report.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy. I think we would be remiss to have left this in information without giving accolades to the people who are doing the hard work to promote that and foster that inclusivity and the diversity in our community, and to recognize again another commitment to no hate in Halton here in a public forum with everyone together, and to engage the public in that commitment. So again, thank you to the officers that are doing the hard work and to the community members who are stepping up alongside that commitment.
Thank you. Well said, Lisa. Samira, you're up next.
I just want to thank Board Member Lisa for bringing this up for discussion. It is such an important discussion to have, especially considering the times and the world we live in, which is so divided, and hate is being used as a tool to sometimes gain political support. And our police services are doing the best they can, and we cannot expect police services, and this is to the attention of the community who are tuning in, to eradicate hate. Eradicating hate begins with us at our homes, of how we teach our children and how we raise them, and how parents are teaching children not to get engulfed in all of this hate propaganda. That's how we end hate. Not by police force or police force using force. It's by education, and it starts at home. Just wanted to take the opportunity to share this message with the community. It's incumbent upon all of us to take action against hate, because hate is now being used for commercial purposes, for political purposes, for everything. I mean, there were reports about Facebook promoting angry and hateful content because it got more revenue for them. We need to be alert and aware of these things surrounding us, especially our children, and meaningfully, intentionally work to eradicate it. Thank you.
That was a soundtrack for them. Okay, thank you, Samira. Can I get a motion to receive the information in 3.3, 3.6, please? Thank you, Samira. Seconded by Nav. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, we are moving along now to our regular agenda. Here. We start with the recommendation reports at 4.1, capital project status, program status at December 31st, 2026. Any comments from command? Nothing? Members of the board, do you have any questions on this report? Can I get a motion? Thank you. Seconded by?
You can have the one.
Yeah. You want to make your first motion? Sure. Thank you. Seconded by Rod. All in favor? That's carried. Everybody remembers their first motion. 4.2, Motorola Solutions, police mobile radios, limited tendering. Anything from command on this one?
I think it's self-explanatory with the expansion of fleet. Radios are also expensive for sure.
Did you ever check Timu?
They look this big and they're this big.
Members of the board, can I get a motion to, any questions on this before I ask for a motion? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the recommendation, please? By Nadine, seconded by?
I'll second it.
Ingrid, all in favor? That's carried. 4.3 is an agreement deployment of McMaster University Special Constables. Comments from command?
To the chair, it's simply bringing us in compliance with the new Community Safety and Policing Act. A lot of great work's been done behind the scenes. I know Ivan Lorte, former inspector with us in our organization, is now with McMaster, and we've worked hard with him to develop some of the operational protocols as well, so it's very clear about our interaction, communication protocols, and I find that the report is self-contained.
Do you have a comment? Is that your hand go up, Phil?
Just saying hi to Ivan.
He's waiting.
I was going to do the same thing.
It gives Ivan a chance to come back.
Did you have any comments? Okay.
So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I know David Tilley, who is our advisor from the Solicitor General's office, has some comments in writing. I was wondering if you want to share those with the board.
It's just to say that this is a very, overlooked
area of compliance in the Act. So again, I was just echoing those commend both Halton and Hamilton boards and Adam McMaster as a special constable for and actually compliance. I actually think this is the first example of it being done, so we probably created a template for everyone else to follow.
We're getting used to it. Thanks, David. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the recommendation, please, and appoint? Thank you, Lisa, and seconded by Samira. All in favor? That's carried. Excuse me. Okay, we come to 4.4, which is the Federal Assault Style Firearms Compensation Program. Chief.
I fully support the recommendation and the motion that is in this report. I think it's a federal program that has been determined for a variety of different reasons, some of which you heard this morning. I would agree with the majority of those, if not most of those points. I think it's purely a downloading scenario on trying to get municipal police services or provincial services, in the case of Ontario and Quebec, to do federal work. I think the RCMP are probably properly situated to carry out that federal initiative, and I think they should bear the cost of it as well. I do believe, and I think all the deputies, and we've discussed it some, we do want to have our resources concentrating on what's happening here, which are the illegal handgun firearms, 85% of which come smuggled from the United States, not long guns that are stolen from innocent gun owner residences. So it certainly is a federal undertaking and an attempt to download, and I think the board has seen and probably heard from other boards that have made the same decision already. I would fully support that here. I don't want our officers needing to do some of that work, which I think should be done by, and the RCMP frankly have local resources as well between Hamilton and a detachment that's in Milton, and it'd be good job security for them.
There's a dual benefit to rejecting it. There you go. Members of the board, do you have any comments or questions? I have one. Oh, Lisa, go ahead.
No, you first.
Okay, I have one question. So I just want to paint a scenario. If there's a member of the Halton community that has these sorts of weapons in their possession that want to dispose of them safely, obviously without compensation, is this something that our service can accommodate?
I think people would still be able, certainly, to bring firearms in and turn them over to us. This is a whole different issue with the actual program itself.
But you don't want them bringing them in, I assume, right? You'd prefer they call? Yeah.
Make an appointment.
Make an appointment, call.
Be a little more coordinated than that, yeah.
But it's certainly, by rejecting this program, we're not saying we are not prepared to assist members of the public should they wish to have their firearm for whatever reason. Correct?
Assisting individual members of our community, citizens of Halton, is different than taking on the financial responsibility of the federal government.
Right. No, I get that part. I just wanted to clarify that this is a rejection of being able to provide a real service. Should it be in those cases where it's actually deemed necessary, or somebody chooses to move forward instead of throwing them in the garbage or walking into a police station with them. So, okay, thank you. That's my only question. Okay, members of the board, you have a decision to make. Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa, you defer to me.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. So I just wanted to recognize that this board does not operate in a way that makes political decisions or statements, or when we do our advocacy, we do it as a board in open session. And I just want to make sure that everything contained in this report is with the focus on the health and well-being of our service, and that the decision to opt out is based on what's contained in this report. So this is not a matter that the board would engage in any type of politicalization or any statements around any situations like that. It's all in this report, and I would just ask that it be used factually.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Anything further? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the recommendation, which is the recommendation, just for the sake of the record, I'm going to read it into the record. The recommendation is that the Halton Police Board approve the Halton Regional Police Service to opt out of the Federal Assault Style Firearms Compensation Program, ASFCP. such small type. Can I get the motion? Nadeem, sorry, Nav, your hand is really up high.
Yeah, I want to move that motion.
Okay. You got it. Seconded. Thank you. Further comments or questions? All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Thanks again, Mr. Zach, for your delegation. Okay, moving on to 4.5, which is crime prevention policy.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So this is one of the adequacy standards. And the board saw the first draft of this last month and was consulted, and I've worked with the management team to finalize this. There's some changes, which I believe Kevin was kind enough to point out to me, since the 1990 Act and the adequacy standards at that time regarding crime prevention. And so the policy is before you. One other highlight, I guess, is that we're making a tie-in and report to the community fund and the community safety and well-being plan, because they are all complementary initiatives. So I'm recommending that you would adopt this new policy and rescind the old one.
Command, any comments or questions? I know you've been consulted and you provided feedback. Anything further?
No, the consultation, again, was very positive. I appreciate that. And the input of a number of members of the service and the executive team. So thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Members of the board, questions, comments? I get a motion to approve the policy, please. Ingrid, well, you were fast on that. Lisa, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 4.6, victim assistance policy. Fred?
Again, this is an update with the new general adequacy standard. The board was consulted in its production, and then management was consulted, and specifically Jeff Hill worked with the victims assistance people here. And this is the recommended policy to replace the old one.
Thank you. And just for the record, this was brought to the board previously. We've had an opportunity to edit, so it's not that we're glossing over it. We've already worked on as a group. This is just a matter of the approval subsequent to all the consultation. Command, any comments on this?
No, just this is one of those very positive things that Deputy Chief Hill reports on. So.
The only report is positive.
It's not just Kevin.
I technically have to say it.
But we'll attribute this one to you today.
I got more negative stuff to say.
We always look forward to your moment. Okay, members of the board, any comment or question? Can I get a motion to approve this recommendation, please? Thank you, Nav. Thank you, Nadeem. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, we've already dealt with 4.8, which is the at-risk youth initiative, so we'll move on to operational purpose. Oh, I'm sorry, 4.7, I jumped right past the community funding disbursements. I'll call upon the chair, Nav, to update us on this.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So as listed here, there has been some updates. We were able to collect some more information. So out of the applications, there's one that we are going to defer or denied and asked that invited to be reapplied with more information. And Jessica will reach out to the organization to give it more clarity, and that's St. Luke's. But the other applications, including Art House, Oakville Public Library, Easter Seal, Dunwee, and Wesley, be approved for the application amount.
So you're moving that?
Yes.
Can I get a seconder for that, please? Ingrid, as a member of that committee, has seconded it. Comments or questions?
I was just going to also add that the policy and the application is a continuous work, so I'll ask the community to, bear with us as we're trying to refine the process to make it more streamlined and have consistency across the board. So, if you've applied recently or in the past, you'll probably realize every time you go in, the application's updated or the policy's updated. That's just to make sure we're trying to make it more equitable and accessible for all organizations across Halton.
Good point. I'll just mention that as the guy with the tenure on this board, I can say that we've gone from being basically almost an ad hoc kind of no rules process to try to develop a process and with some bumps along the way, and taking the opportunity to reassess how that administration of these grants occurs. And so we really want to thank the committee for their hard work, and we look forward to seeing more great applications from the community for this fund. If you're watching streaming and you're interested, you can learn more about the community fund at haltonpoliceboard.ca. The application is right there, along with all our guidelines. And we have, Jessica, when is the next application deadline?
April? I'm just gonna look. It closes on April 30th.
So if you're interested in applying, if you have a worthy project to bring to our attention, April 30th is the application deadline, and the grants are up to $10,000. So with that, it's been moved, it's been seconded, all in favor? And that is carried. Those grants have been approved. All of the applicants have been approved, with the exception of St. Luke's, which has been denied pending a reapplication with additional information. So it's not an actual permit denial, it's just a denial temporarily until we get more details. Thank you. Operational verbal updates.
We're good.
Good. Nothing at all?
Try to save time.
Okay, action registry.
Just one thing.
Wow.
And that's the public safety unit, which we're having some discussions of in camera today.
Right.
See if that,
It will be done, but you can't mark it done for another hour.
Yeah, got it. Thanks. Okay, motion to receive the action register, please. Thank you, Nadeem. Thank you, Nev. All in favor? That's carried. You all have, you're all in receipt of the public correspondence. There's only one item on the public correspondence this month. Inspector, memo from the Inspector General. Motion to receive the correspondence, please. Ingrid and, how about Rod? Sure. Rod seconded. All in favor? That's carried. Any new business to come before the board today? I am not seeing any. Nope. Okay. It's time for us to move into a session closed to the public, and I'll read our statement on that regard. We are moving into a session closed to the public to deal with matters pertaining to identify individuals and matters pertaining to information that Section 8 of Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act would authorize a refusal to disclose if it were contained in a record. So, short, you need to leave. We are going to take a brief recess, members of the board. We'll reconvene at 10:30. If you have business before us and are authorized to be in closed session, you can turn otherwise. Thank you for your time and attendance. Members of the public who are watching the end of our public session of our meeting today, if you're watching on YouTube, we want to say thank you very much for taking the time to tune in and attention to the business of the Halton Police Board. We always appreciate your interest and your participation. If you ever have any questions or comments, feel free to share at Halton Police Board.